Hello and greetings, everybody. Just wanted to hop on and do a quick video. The topic of this video I had actually been thinking about yesterday, but it's something that I revisit time and time again. I actually have a chapter in my book titled Sounding White. Now, most of my employment has been in the fields of telecommunications and customer service. Therefore, developing good language and communication skills has been to my utmost advantage. Not only have I spoken to customers from all over the country, different nationalities and different ethnic backgrounds and whatnot, but it is also important to know how to cater to different customers who might comprehend or accept things and when projected in a certain way as far as language is involved. Given that language has been a very effective tool that I have utilized for my success in this field, oftentimes I have been pretty much questioned as far as whether I aspire to sound white or, especially when people know that I'm brown and proud, when people know that I'm all about being Chicano, being indigenous. They kind of question and they kind of correlated with how white I sound or how white I'm trying to sound. And something that I discuss in the book is what exactly does white sound like? A person might have a Eastern European accent and is still a white person, so they're white sounding. Somebody from Spain who is Caucasian might be speaking. What we're actually getting at is I'm trying to sound like an American white. Okay. Now, why should I sound any different? I grew up with, around Mexican Americans and stuff. I grew up with my parents speaking Spanish, but I was given the same education as the next Caucasian, next African American person was. So I just don't see how me trying to sound white, plays into the whole. Should I have a lesser grasp of the language? Should my grammar be lackluster just so that I don't come across as trying to sound white? And another thing that I've come across, especially in this town where, a lot of people have just very obscured mentalities, we'll just say that, is that a lot of people are marveled at times by, and I'm not saying that I'm the best sounding person, but they're marveled at the fact that they originally see me and they automatically think, he's going to sound like an essay or something, and they're like, wow, you're really well spoken, and this and that. And I'm just thinking, like, why wouldn't I? Why shouldn't I? You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the United States. I've been exposed to the same media which anybody else has, any other American has. So why should I sound any different? I actually was working at a convenience store once, and a customer called, and she asked if we had some product or not. And I went to go check, and I come back, and I was like, yeah, we do have that product. She said, well, thank you kindly. You're a very nice person and stuff and whatnot. So anyways, some time later, she walks into the store and looks around and seems a bit lost. And I'm like, can I help you, ma'am? I just spoke with a gentleman on the phone, and he was just a lovely guy. Is he working? And I was like, what time did you call? She said, like, about 1-2 hours ago. I was like, I've been the only one on duty. So she was like, oh, it's you. I guess she saw me and she automatically didn't expect for me to be that kind anglophonic person on the phone. So what I have to say to that is it shouldn't amaze you. It shouldn't astound you that I sound so proficient in English, because in reality, from a very young age, I had to master English and Spanish. And as I'm growing, I'm wanting to master more languages. Being in the customer service field, we also had people of Portuguese descent, Brazilians and whatnot. And I said, you know what, I'm going to pull me up some words in Portuguese. And every now and then they would say something that they weren't able to, relay in Spanish or English. And I was like, oh, you're meaning this. Or, toward the end of the conversation, I'd be muito obrigado, thank you in Portuguese. And they're like, oh, it delights them to know that I take the time to learn even a few words in their language. So the more you learn about languages, the more you see the connection. So to deprive yourself of that and saying I speak English because this is America, and also a lot of people, particularly Hispanics, they want to just focus on English for that same stigma. They don't want to sound with an accent. They don't want to mispronounce a word because um, something else that happens, an English speaking person, I'm going to say it, a Caucasian might mispronounce a word or use the wrong word. Nobody bats an eye, but let somebody, a Chicano, mispronounce something or use a word out of context, they will bash you. And it's like, we all have, we're all imperfect and we're all going to mispronounce and, error in our speech. So as pretty much, and you start learning all these languages, and oftentimes knowing more than one language, particularly Spanish in my case, helps you understand um, uh, what different words might mean. So it pretty much already gives you an advantage as you learn the language because, a lot of people might speak English, but their English level is not competent. And they were given the same education as me. I dropped out in junior in high school, but I went to college. I always wanted to read. I always wanted to study. I've always wanted to learn. So somebody who graduated and went to college is not going to sit there and judge me because I dropped out of high school when, you know what I'm saying, everybody just follows a different path and whatnot. I'm not trying to excuse that happening in my life, but I did seek to salvage my educational life by going back to college, and it's still ongoing in years to come. So, and it really does give you the advantage when you already know Spanish because there are certain words that you come across and you're like, ooh, it sounds like this. Um, so in reality, don't allow people to put you down because they automatically assume that you're gonna. And it's kind of like they look for the slightest like accent, like, ooh, you sounded very Mexican there. Can you say it again? On the contrary, seek to be a better presentation of you in all sense of the word. Um, then I also worked for a call center for a bank in their credit card department. And not that my Spanish was bad, but it wasn't as proficient as English because I didn't speak it and every day. Because the person that I speak Spanish most would be my mom. When I would speak to her on the phone, or an aunt of mine. Other than that, I would just speak English. So I was a little rusty. I didn't want to come across as pocho. So I applied for this position and I got hired. So, and I said, I know that at the beginning it's going to be a bit hard for me to, come across as proficient Spanish. Because one thing is knowing the Spanish that we speak every day, I te watcho, but another one is to actually speak it coherently and to where Spanish speakers of other nationalities are going to understand you on a more universal level, even though they themselves have also idiomatic constructs that you might not understand. A funny story, and I also include this in my book. A customer was trying to explain to me once when I worked at a warranty in the warranty department. He was asking me questions as to how he could troubleshoot or how he could redeem his warranty for a lawnmower, and he was explaining to me, and then I tell him, "Oh, es una cortadora de zacate." Zacate is the Mexican word which comes from Nahuatl. To refer to grass, and he was like, "Zacate, ¿qué es eso?" He was of Puerto Rican descent. We found césped to be that middle word where I understand and he understands. So that's the wonders of learning that you want to overcome ignorance by learning more and informing yourself and actually taking the time. Shut down the TV for a couple of hours. Get off social media and actually grab a book and get to wanting to learn something. And so basically back to my position at the bank for the credit card department, I grabbed me a couple of Spanish books. I said, I read about the subject, which is an advantage, something that I'm getting out of this, and I get to practice my Spanish. So I recorded myself speaking in Spanish, reading the book aloud, because at the same time that my brain is processing everything that I'm reading, I'm also connecting it with pronouncing it and putting it out there. For a complete experience. And I would listen to the recording and started pinpointing what words I was struggling with, what grammatical constructs I needed to work on. And I did. And I handle Spanish calls as a pro, but then whenever the English call started coming in, it was hard for me to transition. And you see that the mastery of the both languages is an incredible feat, and it's an incredible accolade, which people who only speak English will criticize you for not having a complete grasp of both languages. But it's just an ongoing struggle, and you expand your mind to where you want to learn more languages, you want to learn more of both languages. So it's something that they're deprived of by being Anglophonic, monolingual, bigots. So explore language, explore different languages, explore the origin of words, and it gives you a more wholesome sense, where next time that you hear a word, you're going to be like, oh, because of this and that. It's just an amazing journey. And it's all part of, developing our mind and brain so that nobody develops it for us, like religious indoctrination. And school has done it for so many years. Let's break free from all of that. And with these kind words, I leave you, and I hope that y'all share, comment, like, and whatnot, interact. And I hope to speak to y'all soon.